So Chapter 59 of the Dragon Ball Super manga begins the Ultra Instinct Omen versus Moro fight and focuses entirely on that. But we begin the chapter with 7-3 and Predator Dude as they are watching their fellow convicts getting shuttled off by the Galactic Patrol. And I really liked this intro because it shows, hey, these guys will be back. You know, 7-3 is a really cool villain. I actually think he's more interesting than Moro at this point, at least. But we begin the whole face down with Moro and Goku with this really awesome downward angle shot of Ultra Instinct Omen Goku. But I did notice that he looked a little Super Saiyan God-ish, you know, in the body department, a little bit thin there. But Piccolo says, hey, he looks like he can activate it at will. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock, that's what he just did. Good observation, Piccolo. You know, Piccolo hasn't been the smartest in this arc, but this chapter kind of furthers that, because he goes on to say, this fight is for the fate of the entire universe. And I'm like, Piccolo, okay, I understand why you think this. Goku is usually the last stand between annihilation and defeating the bad guy. But you're forgetting one really, really big thing, and that's Vegeta. Granted, it is hard to fathom how Vegeta can surpass Ultra Instinct Omen, but the fight begins with Goku's air punchy technique, which is a really common technique actually in the Dragon Ball series, but here they seem to be passing it off as like a special Ultra Instinct Goku technique, which is it's like multiple characters have done it in the past. And it's not even hurting Moro. He's like, what is this pesky attack, man? But we get this really cool shot of Goku flying essentially toward the camera and attacking Moro. But that's one thing to note in this chapter is that, yeah, there's some really cool shots like this. But for the most part, the art in the chapter seemed pretty subpar compared to the rest of this arc. I don't know if that's just something that I'm noticing more in this chapter or if it's actually subpar. So let me know what you think in the comments below. But Goku is essentially relentlessly attacking Moro, and Moro's just blocking everything he has. And this is an important thing or detail to note, because later on in the chapter we see that Goku clearly has the upper hand. But Moro uses this really interesting magic technique to bind Goku's hands and feet, and I thought this was the perfect technique against Ultra Instinct, because Ultra Instinct, as opposed to what this chapter seems to imply, is all about reaction on instinct. You know, so it cuts the reaction time to fractions of what it would be if you're just using your brain too much to attack. Which also ties into speed, of course. Now, of course, Goku's a lot stronger, and Ultra Instinct is a really significant power-up, so yeah, he's faster in general, but that's not what Ultra Instinct is about. It's about reaction time and reaction speed. So this is, if he can't move, he can't really utilize Ultra Instinct to its full extent. So I'm thinking, what is Goku how is he gonna break this magic spell? Like, Moro's just gonna wail the crap out of him. So he kicks him, and Goku's flying back, and Goku squeezes his fist, and then the magic is dispelled. Oh, I guess that's it. So how is Goku gonna get out of this? He just does. So he zips around Moro's back, and we get a really nice cutaway, half a page cutaway to Vegeta. Now this is some awesome, massively awesome sensing abilities from Vegeta. Obviously we've seen it before, but now he knows Moro has entered the fray and is fighting Kakarot. So the only way I can think for Vegeta to getting there, he's got to know instant transmission at this point. Like, how can he get to Earth in a fast enough time? There are no spaceships fast enough for him to get to Earth in a reasonable amount of time. So he's obviously going to zip in and save the day, which is going to be awesome. So Moro starts this really cool electric attack, which reminded me of two things. When Vegeta was powering up to Super Saiyan 2 in the Universe 6 tournament, we got that lightning going all over the planet and just like causing havoc on the ground. And then B, Roshi's electric attack thing. And I thought it was so funny how the electric stuff went and hit Saganbo. Like, talk about beating a dead horse. So Gohan goes ahead and explains to Goku that they have the Dragon Balls gathered, so he doesn't have to worry about wrecking the Earth, because any wreckage that the Earth is going to endure can be fixed with the Dragon Balls. So he starts charging a Kamehameha. Now, if we remember, I don't think there's been a dull Ultra Instinct Kamehameha in all of history. So Goku starts to charge it, and knowing tricky Moro, he's obviously gonna try something. Now this is where Ultra Instinct comes in handy. Like, this is where his body is kind of reacting, because he knows about Moro's kind of image mirage technique, I guess you could call it. So he twists around and fires it off right where Moro appears. Now at first when I read this, I'm like, what the heck happened there? Because it looked like Goku was just doing a 360 in the air, but it fires straight at Moro, and he stops it with one hand. How freaking powerful is this guy, man? He stops it with one hand. I thought for sure that he would absorb it, but for some reason he just doesn't. Maybe it's just too overwhelming of a power, but if it was, he should be using two hands. You know. So I really did appreciate this one panel of showing the beam in the sky with the rocks flying everywhere and the giant sound effects. So we get 17 and 18 joining the fight because they were off helping the Galactic Patrol with gathering up the convicts to, you know, get them out of there. So the fight continues, and at this point, this is when Goku starts to get the upper hand. And he is, if you pay attention, as they reveal later on, Goku is really trying to end this fight as fast as he can. Now, I've mentioned that the art is kind of subpar, and this one panel here of Goku kicking is a prime example of some of the not greatness. I feel like there's just too many panels. I want more one-page or half-a-page spreads would be just so good, man. But it really does lend itself to the intensity that this fight is, and which makes me think that Ultra Instinct, does it really add anything to this fight? Other than maybe the Kamehameha and just a power-up for Goku, because he got significantly stronger just from the training alone, and he should have been stronger just in Super Saiyan Blue. But anyway, they're falling from the sky, and Moro pulls Goku to him, and this is what I'm talking about, is that with Ultra Instinct being reliant on reaction time and knowing when to attack, attacking automatically and dodging automatically, I don't feel like this is an attack that should happen. No matter how cool it is and how cool it looks, Goku decides to attack Moro with Moro attacking him. I feel like with Ultra Instinct, he would have maybe gone to attack, but then pulled back because his body would have known that Moro, like, it's a big opening for Moro to attack, so he would have cut the attack off short. So it's a little inconsistent there, that I noticed at least. So they continue the fight, and Moro decides to go to his energy stealing technique, and I'm like, all right, it's about to get serious now. This is the thing that's been causing them troubles this whole time. And what happens? Bum, bum, bum. Exactly what I predicted of how Goku would dodge this. And of course, they foreshadowed it a little bit, but Goku essentially dodges the energy stealing technique. And this might actually be an attribute to Ultra Instinct's role in this, is would he have been able to dodge at the right moment? But this brings to question the inconsistency with Moro's energy of stealing abilities. If we remember Vegeta's fight with him, Vegeta was fighting him in a Blue Evolution, and he then went to base and then couldn't even go Super Saiyan. So Moro was passively absorbing their energy. So why isn't he passively absorbing Goku's energy right now? Is it because he can't concentrate enough? Because he was attacking Vegeta the whole time during their fight? So I feel like that's pretty inconsistent there. But Goku really starts to lay it on Moro, and this is when, okay, yeah, he basically has this in the bag, man. And Gohan actually mentions that he still has a silver-haired form on top of it, and I'm thinking, probably not. And sure enough, we cut to the world of the gods with Beerus and Whis and Maris, and he basically reveals that he can't do that form at will. And Whis is basically commending Maris on a job well done on training Goku. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, like what? Why is this angel in training a better trainer than Whis? But of course, I'm joking, because Maris essentially was most likely bringing Goku to the brink of death every time they trained, whereas Whis was not during their training. So Moro, essentially, this becomes the most disappointing part of the chapter. Moro, of course, is just becoming more and more generic of a villain as time goes on, and now he's just so strong that he's just a strong bad guy now. He doesn't need his magic or anything anymore. And of course, we probably thought this was gonna happen eventually, but he reveals that he doesn't need to consume energy to become stronger. He just does it to eat or weaken his opponents, of course. And I'm thinking, okay, so, but before, you definitely did need to weaken your opponents because they were way strong. I mean, Majin Buu was stronger than you, dude. So you definitely needed to absorb their energy to make them weaker. And obviously, we already knew this. Like, we knew he eats the energy because that's his food. I don't really understand the point in him revealing this other than to just build up to him powering up more. And then furthermore, the subsequent pages after this, there's almost no point to him powering up. He becomes stronger, everybody's surprised. And this is the best shot in the chapter, is Moro saying, I've consumed a lot of planets and I'm super, super powerful and I'm past even the gods. I feel like they have to fill some sort of quota where they say they've surpassed the gods like in every arc. So Moro is apparently very strong, and he shoots a blast at Goku, and for some reason Goku swats it away instead of dodging it, which Ultra Instinct should be dodging it, not swatting it away, but Moro freaking gets him in a bear hug and does a freaking attack. Now in the leaks, we thought he was absorbing his energy, but it seems here that he's just doing some sort of attack and hurting Goku to an extent to where Goku loses his Ultra Instinct form. And Moro basically reveals that, hey, I know why you've been pushing this fight, because you can't do this form for very long because of stamina drain. And sure enough, we cut away to Maris and Whis explaining that very thing. And they explained that it hinges on Goku's ability to manage his stamina during this fight. So like a badass, Goku goes back into Ultra Instinct Omen even after that. So really cool stuff. And Goku says, okay, you know what? Sorry, Maris, I know I have to manage my stamina and do this balancing act, but a stamina, quote unquote, a stamina balancing act during battle just isn't my style. What? That is exactly what Goku does in every single fight he's ever been in. Is that not true? Obviously, it varies from fights throughout the series, but stamina balancing act during battle isn't Vegeta's style. Like Goku, he's always known, I mean, he's known to hold back a lot. Like during his fights, he starts out in base, then goes Super Saiyan. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what was the Tournament of Power? You were holding back for the Tournament of Power. This line makes no sense. Would have made a lot more sense if he said a stamina balancing act isn't what I need for this particular fight. So anyway, that wraps up my thoughts. Drop your thought waves down in the comments below. As always, subscribe to my main channel. Thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.